Hello guys, how you doing? It's been a while. Yes, I know. Uh, you know, I know it takes a bit of time before new clips come out, but and what I can promise you is that for now they will always come out, no matter how long it takes. But of course, I will continue to make effort to make sure that I shorten, you know, the gap in between, at least so that the clips will be coming out in shorter periods. So what have we to talk about today? Like what this channel is about is just random thoughts and of course uh, that 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 the thoughts are random or the topics are random does not make it any less important. In fact, our best ideas come spontaneously. So going to the point, um, I know we as a society, there is this general impression that um, when you have lived both among you have friends or acquaintances that cut both across the affluent, and the modest. I don't know how right or wrong it is to call people poor, but I mean, it's just sometimes it sounds like an extreme word to me, but I don't think it is what it is, man. Not always poor is poor, not always is rich. And being poor is not always about materialism. It also starts mentally, but that is not what we are here for. So what I'm talking about, of course, is material has to do with material wealth, poverty in terms of material wealth, lack of material wealth. That is lack. So there is this impression that a society that first of all, I want you to keep something in mind, something about the crab mentality. There is an expression or a term known as the crab mentality. Crab, as in crab, the aquatic animal. Keep that in mind while we're discussing. So there's this general impression that um, rich people are arrogant, are proud, all those kinds of words. Our society have learned to use it on the rich, elite, and affluent. And when I'm talking about, you know, suspect, of course, is people that got honest wealth, from hard work and industry. So there's this impression that, general impression that, you know, especially when it has to do with interface between the rich and the poor. Maybe picture, for instance, you live as the next door neighbor to a very affluent individual. You know, nothing he nothing he or she does is good in your sight because you are already looking at him from from a critical lens. You are you are looking out for those flaws. You are looking out for those fault lines that where they say you are trying to prove that he's proud or that he's arrogant or that his wealth has gotten into his head. You look out for the wrong things, you know, and that mental state. There is this mental state that is a psychology that whatever you are looking out for is what you see. It's like confirmation bias. You know, you see a cup half full, but somebody is seeing it half empty. You are seeing the same thing, but in opposite senses. So there is this, when you look at, and usually is a very biased and unfair way to have an interface with people that are better off, than you. You want to see that this thing has gotten into his head. Necessarily, you see, let me tell you, there's something about pride and arrogance. It does not. It's a question of character. Pride and arrogance is a question of character. It's not a question. It's not a function of lack or what do you call it? It's not a question of lack or a question of having. It's not a question of wealth or poverty. It's a question of character. And this is where our society gets it wrong every single time. When you see, first of all, you have to understand it's not that deep. It's not. Don't take things personal. Most things you can relate with as an individual who is have modest means. A person who is affluent cannot relate with your realities. Do you know? You have to understand these things. You people are not dealing with the same realities because the income brackets is quite different. The income bracket is quite different. What you see as big money is small money to him, and what you see as small money, is small money to him, and what he sees as small money is a miracle to you. So why would you now, if you people are not operating in the same brackets or your reality, why would you now be why would you now see the person and have a certain outlook towards that person? You know, especially when the person is, and that is why it's usually difficult to see um, where a poor man can maintain a rich man, a man of means as a friend, like a very friend that has a very maybe close friend, and friendship that is built on trust, you know mutual understanding, functionality, also mutual interest and benefit. Is hard because they are not operating with the same realities. So you see, when because of this, of course the man of means will prefer to keep friends that keep his friends within his status bracket. But a man that is of modest means, of course you can't choose your friends. So you can choose your friends, but you cannot actually make friends or keep friends who are men of means or individuals of means, because they are not. And when you try to step up, when you try that, some of them might not want it, because friendship it has to be mutual. It's a two-way traffic, you know. So when they shrug it off, or when they show lack of interest or something like that, you say he's proud, he's arrogant because he's rich and all that. No, man, it's not that deep. It's not personal. The person just does not see himself functioning, having a functional relationship with you, or he doesn't see himself being even free around you, because you guys operate with under different realities. So when our society, when you begin to see things this way, and I think is a question of enlightenment, because when you live in a society that is not so enlightened due to poor education and all that, this is where you see this um these issues, where the the man of modest means cannot easily mingle and have productive and uh, you know tangible conversation with a man above his means, because the man of modest means will always see, there is always this inferiority complex that plays out, you know in the conversation, and which can easily be sniffed out. There's always this inferiority complex on the part of the man of modest means, and there is always this seeming boastfulness, which is not actually boastful. The person is just telling you their reality, but it will, because you are a man of modest means, you see it as he's being boastful, or he's being, somehow. I'm sure we can relate with all this. So it's not, it's not either person's fault. It's just um, a matter of perception, point of view, you know. Like I said, arrogance and pride cuts across. It's a question of character. It cuts across both the rich and the poor. A person is arrogant and proud because by character he is so, not because he is rich or because I've seen. Of course, we have poor people that are arrogant and proud. You know that wear their egos on their sleeves. They are easily, it's easy to see. It's easy to see, but because of the peculiar disposition of a man of means, they are we are quick to judge judge them, or we are quick to that conclusion that this man is proud, this man is arrogant, and once that person is seen as proud and arrogant, and the person happens to be a man of means, it's because he's a man of means. It's not. It's not. It's the person's character. You know, you can see that is why when you go to a very enlightened, civilized society, you can't tell a man of means and a man of modest means from mere looking at them. You can't tell. When you maybe like the European countries, or some of these islands, Bahamas, where rich people go to spend time, have vacation. You can't tell. A billionaire might just walk past you. You will not know. Is in this country, Nigeria, that the insecurity, societal vices, where um, rich people have to practically be hiding. They can't even live to enjoy their money because of the way the society is. You know, and most times they even run from their relatives. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It just shows the backwardness of the society, how the society have degraded and degenerated so badly. In a civilized society, like I was saying, you can't tell a man who is a man who is a billionaire from a regular 9 to 5 person. You can't tell. No, just walk past you. You may just be seated beside one in the nobody knows. Nobody's wearing their wealth all over them on their sleeves or anything. Everybody is cool. Everybody can afford a roof over their head, can afford decent meal, can take care of their family. I mean, the very basic things of life that seem to be luxury here are just around are just within reach. So everybody is happy. But when a dysfunctional system has made very, very basic things, very life's necessities, made them luxury, it now seems like these things are. You see, people cannot have 3 square meal. We cannot. We struggle to pay our bills. you know Even a man that is on a good, on by any standard, should not be poor, well educated, and all that, but still struggling because of the economic dynamics and all. So these things pulls the society back, and you see you see emotions like, it's jealousy and emotion that I'm not even sure. you know you see things like jealousy, envy, all these petty things that are so, I don't know, that pulls people back, especially when it's within a community. You see, when jealousy, pride, arrogance, all these small things are within a community, or within a family, or within a circuit, you see that there is no real progress. Everybody, wherever anybody is, he feels that he's okay with or without anybody. But we human beings are not meant like that. Even by nature, we are meant to be communal. you know so these are the things. Talking about, so this is where the crab mentality comes in. You say that the rich man or the man of means is proud and arrogant, and what you're actually thinking is that you want him to come down to your reality. You want him to, something about performative humility and all this, so disgusting. You want him to come down to your own reality. The man of means is riding on a luxury car, or has a certain standard of comfort that he cannot come below, you know. But when it's obvious, or when he makes it clear that he can't come below that level of comfort or standard of comfort, you see it as pride and arrogance. Why? You guys are now operating at the same reality. So why should you see that as an arrogance? You want him to come below to come to your level. I mean, that's witchcraft. That's witchcraft. You can't do that. That is, you just have to. You just have to accept the fact that yes, he can't do that because this is just his own reality, and you have to accommodate that. You have to accommodate that. So what is the big deal there? So, and you see, if you say it's pride because he doesn't want to come to your level, what about those around you? What about those around you? You see that you people amongst yourselves, even you people amongst yourselves, you don't want each other to grow. You don't genuinely want to see your peer grow. Like, if something nice happens for the person, you are jealous. Instead of you to be happy for the person and pray for your own, at least be happy for the person. It's a good thing. You see that green monster creep inside you. You don't want the person to. That's the crab mentality. And that is even worse than pride and arrogance. Where you are, you don't want to see others. You don't want to see growth. Growth that happens, any growth that happens that does not happen for you or to you is not unacceptable. It cannot be celebrated. I mean, come on, look at it. So these things are very bad. And that is what I just thought to talk about today. That rich man, or you think he's proud and arrogant, have an introspection. Critically analyze, ask yourself, why do I think this man is proud? And why do I think he's arrogant? Because I invited him to my place and he didn't come. Because he's not interested in being friends with me. Or because he rides his luxury car past me when I'm trekking or when I'm in a bike, and he didn't stop to pick me up. No. He has the right to say he doesn't want to be friends. He doesn't want to be close to you. Maybe he wants to be close to people like him. It's fair game. Like, I mean, it's not arrogant. That's not arrogance. And that's not pride. When you want him to come down to your level, that does not make him humble. When you want him to compromise his comfort, involuntarily, when he compromises involuntarily, fine. Nobody's judging that. It's free. Everybody's free to do whatever. But when you think because he didn't come down to your level of discomfort or whatever, because your comfort is uncomfortable to him, so when you come down, you want him to come down to your discomfort, then it means that you are not being reasonable. You are not being reasonable, and it means that you are actually the problem. So there is nothing wrong actually. You want him, when you want him to come down to you, you want him to be performative about his humility. You want him to prove his humility. Something he has nothing to prove to you. That's the problem with our society. People have nothing to prove to us. But when we sit in our little corner, in our little horses, we want people to prove to us, to prove something to us. He's not humble because I have not seen it. Meanwhile, the glasses through which you are assessing what is humility is very contains filth. You know, your perception of humility is jaundiced. You want him to be performative about his humility. You want him to demonstrate it every time, putting him in on an awkward situation because he wants to be. You want him when he's passing in his expensive car to wave to you. If he doesn't wave to you, he's proud, he's arrogant. That is not. These things, these little things are very faulty. It's not how you check for people that are proud of it. And that is why we live in a society that is beset with eye service everywhere. Everybody wants to outdo each other, showing that he's humble, that he's not arrogant. That meanwhile, right inside us, we are that same vibe. We have that same vibe. We have that same bad character in us. You don't have anything to prove to anybody. You are what you are. Live your life where you know that you are. The thing is that as adults, we know what we are doing. We know our weaknesses. We know our strengths. But sometimes we choose to, due to that lack of responsibility, we choose to lie to ourselves. You know, we choose to lie to ourselves because it's quite convenient. It's easier to lie to yourself that you are what you are not. But we all know what we are. We all know our fault lines, and we can actually address them. You can tell yourself the truth and build a better character. But it's easier to lie to yourself. So that is our problem, not taking responsibility. So when you are that is why you need to. One of the very key things you have to learn as an adult is how to take responsibility for your actions or omissions or anything. Once you learn how to take responsibility and how to self-critique, you are already on your way to being a far better person than you used to be, and you continue to build on that. So I'm sure we took away one or two things from this our little conversation, and I'll be looking forward to your comments, and also signing up, subscribing, and you know um, contributions in any way you feel. If you have contrary opinions, air them, and this is what we're here for. And I'm sure and I hope you found this entertaining. Thank you. Till next time.